Hello there, welcome back to my second channel, welcome back to Jack in the Books. Today I have a book haul for you, but a very specific book haul. Because I went to Dublin, you might have seen the last two vlogs that I uploaded. One was a vlog of when I got my honorary patronage award from Trinity College Dublin, which was so cool, still pinching myself, still can't believe that. And then the second vlog was a literary tour of Dublin, also pinching myself because that was a really fun day. That was really, really cool. And in that video, I went book shopping, and I'm actually going to divide this haul up into two more parts because I specifically bought a lot of books by Irish authors, and I wanted to talk about that because I kind of had this realization moment when I was in Dublin that all of my favourite books that I've read recently have been Irish, have been by Irish authors. So this year so far, Small Things Like These and Hearts and Bones by Claire Keegan and Niamh Mulvey, respectively, are my favourite books that I've read in 2023. And then that got me thinking about the fact that I love Sally Rooney. Sally Rooney is one of my favourite authors. She's Irish. Normal People and Beautiful World, Where Are You were two of my favourite books that I read 2 years ago. And then also, my favourite book of last year was Panenka by Ronan Hessian, also Irish. And I was like, holy shit, like the common denominator here is so obvious, and I just hadn't even realised for a moment that that was a common thread throughout all of my favourite books. And so when I was in Dublin, I noticed that all of the bookstores actually had shelves which championed Irish authors and Irish literature. And I was like, I need more of this because clearly I love it. And so I have 4 books to show you which are by Irish authors which I bought in Ireland. So this is my haul, and I'm predicting that I'm going to absolutely adore these books. So you may find these in my favourite books of the year list, who knows. So let's kick off with another book by Claire Keegan. This is Foster. She's the author of Small Things Like These, a book that I loved for the way it was so understated and quiet, but powerful. It packed such a punch. I thought that the pacing was absolutely perfect. And so I was like, I want to read another one of her books. And it's roughly the same length too. This is Foster. I think it has just been made into a movie, which is cool. I want to read the book first and then I will go and see that. There are few stories in contemporary Irish literature with the emotional heft of this novella, says The Times. Small, sharp and brilliant, says The Guardian. Foster puts on display an imposing array of formal beauties at the service of a deep and profound talent, says Richard Ford. So, let's read the blurb. It is a hot summer in rural Ireland. A child is taken by her father to live with relatives on a farm, not knowing when or if she will be brought home again. In the Kinsella's house, she finds an affection and warmth she has not known, and slowly, in their care, begins to blossom. But there is something unspoken to this new household, where everything is so well tended to, and the summer must come to an end. I just know I'm really going to love this. I think that, well, I'll get into why I think I enjoy Irish literature so much at the end of this video, but I think that this is going to tick all of my boxes, and it's described as a real jewel on the cover, a thing of finely honed beauty and a small miracle. And I think although it's small, it is going to be mighty. So I'm excited. Speaking of small but mighty, we have this book. This is Mr. Salary by Sally Rooney. Now I am a dipshit. Basically, I had read a short story by Sally Rooney which was set at a dentist's office, and it's where she like tested out the characters of Marianne and Connell, who obviously then went on to be the characters in Normal People. I think that's right. I think I'm remembering that correctly because I read it like years and years ago. And I think that I had just assumed that Mr. Salary was like the same thing. I hadn't realised this was like a whole separate idea. And so I bought it. It's very, very short. Again, this is actually only 39 pages. My love for him felt so total and so annihilating that it was often impossible for me to see him clearly at all. Years ago, Suki moved in with Nathan because her mother was dead and her father was difficult, and she had nowhere else to go. Now they are on the brink of the inevitable. Sally Rooney is one of the most acclaimed young talents of recent years. With her minute attention to the power dynamics in everyday speech, she builds up sexual tension and throws a deceptively low-key glance at love and death. I just think Sally Rooney is so wonderful, and I can't believe that this has been like floating around and I haven't read it. I can't believe that there's this like little Sally Rooney gem that I just hadn't discovered. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to read Mr. Salary. Obviously it's going to be a quick read. It might just be for like a little train journey or something, but I I'm buzzing that I have more Sally Rooney to consume. And this is hopefully going to like tide me over until she releases her next novel to the world. But yeah, Sally Rooney I think is one of the most exciting contemporary authors, and I'm looking forward to reading this. And, you know, I'm also very inspired by short stories, because I'm kind of working on some of my own at the moment too. So I'm intrigued to see how an author I really love wrote a short story of her own. So anyway, that's Mr. Salary. Next, we have Leonard and Hungry Paul. In fact, all three of these books so far have been me buying more books by authors I already loved, because this is Ronan Hessian's debut novel. It's also signed by the author, which is really cool. In fact, my copy of Panenka is signed too, so I feel like these are going to be something that I cherish forever, because I know that Ronan Hessian has so much more incredible writing in him, because I think he's so great. Anyway, this is Leonard and Hungry Paul. It's the story of two friends trying to find their place in the world. It is about those uncelebrated people who have the ability to change the world, not by effort or force, but through their appreciation of all that is special and overlooked in life. That's exactly what I like reading about. I cannot wait for this. I love reading about like the small pleasures and little beauties of life. So I'm excited to read about two characters who appreciate that. And like I said, Panenka is just so bloody good. It's so great. So the next book is also signed by the author, which is cool. This is In Ordinary Time, Fragments of a Family History by Carmel McMahon. And I bought this because it's about New York City. And you know my affection for New York City. So in 1993, sorry about that, I misread that. In 1993, age 20, Carmel McMahon fled Ireland for New York, carrying 2 suitcases of unsuitable clothes and a ton of unseen luggage. She was to spend nearly 3 decades away. It took years and a bitter struggle with alcohol addiction to unpick the intricate traumas of her past and present. Why is White on Green so hard to read, by the way? My little eyes are struggling. Anyway, multi-layered, captivating, candid yet lyrical, In Ordinary Time mines the way in which trauma reverberates across time and through individual lives, drawing connections to the events, rhythms and iconographies of Ireland's long Celtic, early Christian and Catholic history, as well as the legacy of British colonialism. From the pain of tragically lost and broken siblings to the broader social scars of the famine, McMahon profiles the evolution of a consciousness through her conservative 1970s upbringing, the rootless freedom of millennial New York, and the much-changed Ireland of today. That sounds great. And I'm excited to read this kind of memoir about the experience of moving to New York. Oh, there's little pictures in here too. That's cool. Can you see that? I'm trying to find one. I said there were pictures, and I have somehow got no evidence. There we go. There's one. I was panicking then. I was like, wait, did I imagine that? And so this is my Irish literature book haul. Now, the reason that I think that I love Irish books specifically so much, I do find that, like, obviously you can't generalize too much, but in certain places, certain types of storytelling are really championed. So like there's a very specific style of storytelling in Japan, which is very different from like British storytelling. And I think that's why I'm really drawn to Japanese literature as well. In Irish fiction, I find that often the books focus on much like smaller scale stories. So they're about very ordinary people and they're like a character study. We really get an insight into who this character is, and they really focus on like domestic tragedies, domestic struggles, domestic encounters of like everyday lives. And they are, like I said before, kind of understated and quiet, but they are so powerful at the same time. And I think Sally Rooney says it best it's the start of chapter 12 of Beautiful World, Where Are You? Where she basically says like, maybe we are just all so obsessed with love and each other and the people that we encounter that it comes naturally to write about those things. You know, she's sort of talking about how some people say it's frivolous to talk about sex and relationships and love in fiction. But she's like, that's what we think about on our like deathbed, like the people that we loved in this life. And maybe as humans, we should have been thinking about bigger, more existential things. But actually, the connections that we make and the communication that we have with other people is so interesting to us. We're so obsessed with it. And so of course we should write about it. And of course art should be produced about those things. And so I think I love that idea, so much so that I even remember what chapter it is in that book, because I refer back to it so often. But yeah, that's why I really love Irish fiction, or at least a certain brand of Irish fiction. And so I picked up some more. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this has inspired you to pick up a another book. This is definitely the one I'm most excited about. This is what I'm going to read first. And I'm now going to film the rest of the haul. So that will be up very, very soon. So you can subscribe if you want to see that. Until next time, all the best, stay in touch, have a wonderful day, and bye-bye!